I'd like to talk a little bit about the differences between the East and the West philosophically, particularly looking at Dharma, Tibetan Buddhism. If you ask a Tibetan where their mind is, they don't point to their head as we do, but they point to their heart, actually to the middle of their chest. And again, here in the West, we always point to our heads. That's where we are, right? Of course, the mind can't be in two places. I mean, one for the Tibetans and another for Westerners, which is a good sign for us that the mind is not somewhere, but more like anywhere. And the mind is not physical, and it has no particular physical home. And we have our habits, like using the mind to look out at the world. That's what we do. And we also have assumptions here in the West, like that our mind is good to go, just as it came out of the box. We assume that our mind is already transparent, perfectly clear, and the proper lens to view the world through. After all, we've been using our mind all our lives. Of course, our vision is clear and unimpeded. I mean, it's all that we know. It's what we see. And our mind seems to live on a one-way street here in the West. We look only one way, and that's from in here out at the world. It's just a habit. For the most part, we have never thought to or learned to look inward at the mind itself. We just don't do that. So there you have it. Those are just some of the differences between East and West. We believe our mind is in our head, and the Tibetans find it in the heart. We use the mind only to look out, while the Tibetans learn to look both ways, like crossing the street, in and out. And there are still other differences. The Tibetans don't just assume that the mind is clear, just as it is, but rather that we each probably need some kind of prescription mental glasses, meditation or mind training, in order to see more clearly. And there's more. Many Asians believe that our mind is a projector, and that what we see out there depends to a very great extent on what we fear, hope, and believe in here. In other words, we project our own inner movies outward on the screen of life and then watch them as if what we see out there is the absolute truth, while much is just our own bias, prejudice and fears literally personified, and so on. Unfortunately, our upbringing here in the West and the social veneer that we have is in lockstep with a fixed mental outlook, again, looking out, so that gaps or chinks in our mental armor are like very few to none. For many of us, it takes a personal tragedy for us to vacate our biases, even for a few days, and to actually look around at life. And even pointing this out here makes me, some kind of social critic or discontent, malcontent. And what I have to say probably just appears as another rant. I understand that. If this particular situation that we're in, the way things are, if it did not cause prolonged reactions, suffering, I would just let it go and not say a thing. But when I see people that I care for and that I love causing their own suffering, it's hard to take. And I'm not above it all either. I am my own worst enemy as well, just like we all are. The saving grace is that what little I've learned about looking both ways, looking out, but also learning to look in and see why out is as it is, and then gradually remove obscuration so that I can see more clearly.